Gonna build a mountain from a little hill.
Hey guys, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is DeLady, and today we are back with another speed build video of our Pontus Zoo. And in this episode, as you probably expected, we are going to finish the California sea lion habitat we started a few weeks ago. So previously, we built an indoor habitat inspired by the show area of Dierenpark in the Netherlands. After that, we built the first part of our outdoor area inspired by the sea lion habitat of Pontus Zoo suggested by Romil Boyku. And now today, we are going to finish the other side of the outdoor area, maybe a little bit inspired of the zoo habitat of the Virginia Aquarium and Marine Science Center suggested by iamcactus. Although most of it just comes down on the big underwater viewing gallery we are making here. So we already built like the foundation of this underwater viewing gallery in the previous episode, which I'm actually very happy about because it was a little bit of a struggle back then to get like this big round, like very smooth round area. But yeah, it did work out, thank God, but I didn't have to work on that part at least anymore for this one. But yeah, for this area, we're going to create this big round underwater viewing gallery with some animal talking point seatings around it. This will definitely show a different way of how you could use these seating areas and not put it like straight next to each other like we did with the indoor show area, but in a more free way, if we should call it that way. So the first thing we're going to work on is the glass wall and a path around it. So I first made sure that I raised the terrain a little bit where I want the path to be. And I actually noticed that like using the barrier snap option for the path is actually pretty useful for this bigger round viewing gallery to like place a path easier. So I would definitely recommend using this option yourself too when you want to create something similar and like the same size as this is. And for this specific viewing gallery, I wanted to make sure that the water area itself is still a little bit deeper than the height of the path, so the animals are able to dive deeper as well comparing to the path around it. So when the path was in place, I used the plastic pieces to simply fill the gap between the path and the glass, and also to create like this nice looking edge at the glass wall going into the habitat for just a little tiny bit. And like by lowering this down right under the path curb, I think it looks most realistic and clean, as if this little edge is also like an edge where the guests or kids would be able to stand on. I can totally see something like that happening. But also to give like this glass wall a little bit extra touch of realism, I used these thicker glass walls we got with the aquatic pack. Like I don't really use them that often, but it has like this nice, I think it's called bronze colored metal frame on the top as well. And I do really like this thick glass wall, but the only thing is I don't really like these concrete beams in the middle. They are so humongous. But I actually soon realized I could obviously just replace these concrete beams for like thinner ones, so I could later cover them with these plaster pillars instead. And I think that just looks a lot better in my opinion. So when I finished the edge around the habitat and the path, I was ready to place down the seating areas. Like I wanted to make sure the guests can sit around the whole underwater viewing gallery, but with some nice nature or something like that in between them. Also to make sure like these seating areas would blend in a little bit more with the nature around it, I guess. And the colors of the seating areas will be changed in a later stage once we got everything in place. And I am using like these standard railings for the backside and for the edges of these seating areas that come along in the game as well, just for safety measurements, I guess. So I do really have to thank you all for your feedback in the previous episode, because it turns out you can add several talking points to one habitat, which I absolutely love. Now, I don't want this talking point to be super visible, so this one is hidden away in the rocks on the right side of the path. So once we connect all the path in the future and have guests actually walking around in our zoo, you will have people sitting around the whole viewing gallery, but the educator is not like standing in front of the people in the middle or something like that. Because talking like that, I actually did the same with the indoor area. Just put like the animal talking point on the side side. This one is still visible, but it's not like you have an educator standing in the middle of the water area or something. I don't know. I just would find that very distracting, and especially for the indoor show area, we basically have like this stage area, so that is where I would expect like the educators to be and doing like these little things with the sea lions to show off something. So yeah, I don't want these educators to be too much visible in my seating areas that we are creating right now. There will obviously be habitats in the future where we will be having these educator points being more visible and more important for the builds, but for these two show or seating areas, I don't really want them to be that visible, to be honest. So as this habitat is more sunken into the ground, I had to smooth the terrain around it and make a nice path connection on two sides so the guests can actually reach this area in a later stage. So on the left and the right side, you will see me place two different path connections to this area, and the bigger path will later be connected to the other outdoor area of the sea lions, and in the future, of course, to the rest of the zoo. Because if you look at the cinematic shots at the end of this video, you will see how much space there is left between this habitat and the others. So connecting it right now doesn't really make sense to me, as there are still like a lot more habitats going to be placed around the whole aquatic dome and in between them. So yeah, the connection will be for a later part. So once I had the path connections in place, I started adding like these flat aquatic rocks to create these different height elevations in between the seating areas. And in front of them, where the path connection is, I used the more square blocks of the aquatic pack rocks to create this little edge for the planters. And first, I obviously used some mulch to fill up the planters nicely, as the seating areas are also a little bit floating into the air. It was really nice to use the mulch to close this little gap as well a little bit. And after that, I used like a combination of some taiga and tundra plants and bushes to fill up the planters with, again, my lovely purple alpine flowers. Can we now officially say that I got a little bit too much addicted to these purple flowers? Or maybe I'm just in like this purple flower phase right now. I don't know. Tell me in the comments what you guys feel about me using these purple flowers just everywhere. But maybe it's also because of I don't really like too many of I like the flowers in the game, but they are not as usable as this one, or like the African pink flowers. I think those two are my favorite flowers of the game, just because I feel like you can use them in many different areas in many different ways. But how do you guys feel about that? Anyways, as for the whole zoo, I'm using a lot of the same type of trees and bushes, obviously. So also for this area, to let it all blend in nicely in the future, I'm using the same type of plants and trees and bushes, etc. So the different elevations made with the rocks will also be covered a little bit with some mulch and with like these bigger trees and plants that I use a lot in this area as well, to create like more of this dense area around the whole seating area, if that makes any sense. Once I was happy and satisfied where all the trees and bushes were placed, I recolored the seating area to a more white and grayish combination, I think. And then it was time to actually work on the habitat itself, which actually wasn't that much work anymore, since this is more of like a water area anyway. So of course on the little island, they're able to like chill and rest a little bit. And I did add like a sprinkler enrichment item here for them to play a little bit with. And I also did decorate like the underwater area with some small aquatic rocks, but had to make sure to not use them too much on the island and in the water as well, as they really can hurt the traversable area of the sea lions, unfortunately. So I always try to keep that in mind nowadays when I am placing these rocks, because some animals are really a pain in the butt to use these aquatic rocks for. Now, what I mentioned in the previous episode, that I was worried a bit about this traversable area, also with like the underwater tunnel going from the indoor show area to the outside, and like the little archway we built at the previous outdoor area, I was actually worried for nothing, as it turned out that I actually did a great job measuring it all out for these animals. and they are able to swim around here everywhere. Okay, the only thing I'm not 100% sure about is like the archway of the other outdoor area, but seeing them using the underwater tunnel I made from the show area to like this outdoor area makes me like 99% certain that they are also able to dive under the outdoor archway, like not swim underneath it on the surface, but like actually really dive through the water. I cannot even explain how happy I was the first time seeing a sea lion coming from the indoor area to this outdoor area, swimming through my tunnel. It was just so much fun to see it actually work. So I will obviously make sure to add some cinematic shot at the end of this video to show you guys these sea lions going through this tunnel. But I did close like the other side of the show area. There are like two different tunnels, one on the right side and one on the left side. And the right side is working, but the left side I did close off as there were like so many beams sticking out of the stage above it. Like I was like, I really don't want to fix this all. I'm lazy here, so I'm just going to close off the other opening. But you can't see it as a guest anyway, so I guess it's all good. So all there was left is to create this little gate area at the opening of this tunnel, and of course make like this land opening look a little bit nicer with some acrylic rugs. And after that, it was simply a matter of lowering all the glass back to where I want them to be and add more California sea lions and see how they would move around in this whole indoor and now outdoor habitat. And I am really happy so far with how this habitat has turned out, and also just to see some real action now in this area. The sea lions can move and swim everywhere, and I did not have to fix anything for that, which obviously was like this extra bonus point of making me even more happy with this habitat. So yeah, obviously do let me know in the comments down below what you all think of this last sea lion episode of Pontus Zoo, where we actually finished this whole habitat. Leave a like at the video if you enjoyed and find this video inspiring for your own builds. Subscribe, of course, if you haven't already. Oh yeah, and do not forget to check out my second YouTube channel, DeLady Gamer, where we recently started a series of Ranch Simulator, which I'm really enjoying at the moment as well. I will put a link to my second channel in the description of this video as well. Thank you all so much for watching, and I really do hope to see you guys all in the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys!